Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Miriam Simmons, and I would like to introduce Kelly Danner, running for Dane County Supervisor in District 11. As we begin, I'd like you to give an opening statement as to your educational, vocational, and civic experience which qualifies you for this office and why you're running for the Dane County Board.
Sure, thank you. First of all, thanks for putting this whole event on. This is great. Really impressed with the civic engagement in this town. I grew up in upstate New York, and then I went to school at the College of William Mary in Virginia. There I studied women's studies, really focusing on economic development and gender differences across the world in that area. I came to Madison, like so many young people now, to work at Epic, and after working for a variety of hospitals, a large academic institution, an indigent care hospital in Flint, Michigan, and also International Physician Group, I transitioned to work for a small veterinary practice, an equine clinic. So we work solely with horses throughout rural Dane County. And there I'm the practice manager and do a lot of the marketing and accounts receivable and work like that. Throughout the community, outside of my professional experience, I'm active in the Dane County Democratic Party. I also serve on the Youth Commission for Dane County and have done a variety of other community service, like working for or volunteering with 3 Gates, which does therapy for kids with physical, mental, or behavioral challenges, working with Fetch Wisconsin Rescue, which rehabilitates dogs needing serious medical or behavioral rehabilitation, working as a conversation partner with Wisconsin English as a Second Language Institute. So I think that my broad community service, my professional and educational background really positioned me uniquely for this role and addressing some of Dane County's biggest issues.
Well, lack of affordable housing and the pressure it brings to the issue of homelessness is a chronic problem that Dane County cannot seem to get ahead of. Mm-hmm. What do you believe should be the board priorities for these issues?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in affordable housing, but I am really excited to partner with a lot of the people that are already doing this work on the county board. Heidi Weigleitner, Jeff Pirtle, Haley Young is really focusing on that, on the university and student housing areas. I think that there are a variety of funding options we can look at that are being modeled around the country in different counties and cities. Obviously, Dane County is going to have a pretty lean budget in coming years. So there are quite a few public and private partnerships that provide below market, low interest capital loans for developers for affordable housing. I think that's something we should pursue. Obviously, continuing to support the tax credits for low income housing. And really just looking at any other options we can do to build sustainably, using buildings that just need to be rehabilitated in Madison and then transition to affordable housing, and also building afresh and making sure we're using sustainable materials so that the costs are kept low for the construction as well as the future residents.
With the growth and spread of population in Dane County, what do you believe are the most significant transportation environmental issues facing the Dane County Board, and how do you think these issues need to be addressed?
Yeah, two big parts of that. From a transportation perspective, not touching equity just yet. Even my own job, I work 14 minutes away from where I live, and it would take over an hour to get there via bus, and that includes over a mile walk because that's the closest stop. So I think really expanding our transit options into more rural Dane County so that we can, allow people to make environmentally friendly choices as well as cost friendly. From an equity perspective, transportation is so important to equity in our community. We need to make sure that people are able to get to their jobs and find access to good jobs, and also access to good, safe housing that's environmentally safe and good for their health. So I think really paying attention to not just spreading transportation everywhere, but making it equitable for low-income families that really could get the most benefit from transportation. And I think that kind of touched on the environmental aspect of transportation, but yeah, the helping people make an easy choice for environmentally friendly transit options is important.
What public safety issue or issues do you believe are most pressing that need the attention of the Dane County Board?
The public safety issues, I would look at it at a slightly different perspective. What can we do to transform our human services so that public safety, increases along with it? So a lot of crime and criminal justice issues happen from a source of being housing insecure or food insecure, mental health issues. So by really focusing on our human services, I think we can reduce a lot of the public safety issues that we're seeing in the county. So that is something I'd really like to focus on and work on coordinated care so that people with mental health issues that are also homeless are receiving those services in conjunction and don't have to, go to 5 different agencies to get the care they need. So from a public safety perspective, I think a big part of it is making sure we're caring for our community as a whole.
What do you believe is the specific issue of most concern to the residents of your district, and how do you want to work on solving it?
Yeah, so I've spoken to over 500 residents since I started knocking doors, and the issues that have been brought up have been really amazing. Public health has been something that has been brought up to me multiple times, and I think that's really critical from an equity perspective, and also from just an overall health of our community, including transportation and the environmental protections. So I would really like to work with the public health department on how we can expand the scope of that to include equity, which I know is something that they've been working on for a while. We've also spoken a lot about human services and how we can do better. Since we do invest so much money and infrastructure into this department, what do we need to make sure that that care is being given out on a person basis as opposed to a process basis? And I think that's an important change we can make, and that I'm hearing a lot from our neighbors.
What 1 or 2 personal qualities do you have that will make you the best representative on the Dane County Board for your district residents?
Yeah, I think one thing is that I'm really collaborative, and that's a really important leadership style for the county board. The county should be working really closely with the city, especially since we are a Madison-based district. We should also be working really closely with the 3 prongs of the criminal justice system. Just within District 11, there are 3 different judges, and the DA lives there. So really making sure we're collaborating and reaching out proactively to try to solve some of those most pressing issues in the criminal justice system. And that also goes along with reaching out proactively to the nonprofits that are already doing a lot of the heavy lifting in Dane County for those human services. So certainly collaborative leadership style, and I think just hard work. I have a very high level of work ethic and really willing to put in the energy and the time to make this a priority and to really forward our vision for Dane County's progressive future.
Which board committees do you believe you should serve on, and why?
I would love to serve on the Health and Human Needs Committee. I'm really pleased that the chair and vice chair of the Health and Human Needs Committee are endorsing me, which I think speaks to my qualifications for that. When something that has really driven me to public service is that when I was a kid, my family, middle-class family, went through a crisis, and we needed a lot of the services that the county provides, things like the public safety departments, food stamps, Medicaid, those programs that are distributed by the county. And that has given me a really unique perspective on what we can do to improve those services and improve the access to those services. So I think that I bring a really important perspective to that, and my service would be helpful on the Health and Human Needs Committee. And I've spoken to a lot of neighbors, somebody who's in crisis right now, and saying thank you for talking about this and for being willing to serve. And so I think that's, even in our community, which is relatively well off in District 11, we're seeing those crises, and it's important that we help represent that.
How do you envision, as a Dane County Board Supervisor, working with other municipal officials within Dane County?
I'm looking forward to it. Like I mentioned, I think one of the skills that I bring is collaboration and work with other leaders, and that is both in municipal governments and also those private leaders who are just in the community doing a lot of that hard work already, and working alongside them, and really listening to what they think from the ground floor needs to be done. I think since I do work for a company that works primarily in rural Dane County, that gives me a unique perspective on some of the issues that are going on in rural Dane County. And, just talking to clients, we hear, what the broadband issues and the road issues and when harvest is and how hard it is to be, paying bills and things like that in the off season. So really being aware of what those challenges are and, listening and speaking with those municipal leaders in other parts of Dane County other than Madison.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience for your closing statement?
Thank you so much for listening and thank you for hosting. I'm running for County Board Supervisor because I want to protect the safety net and really prioritize that. And within that bucket, I really include mental health care, youth care, and public health as my 3 priorities. I want to continue working with leaders who are already prioritizing environmental initiatives, cleaning up the lakes, reducing the phosphorus and legacy phosphorus, working with agricultural partners to make sure that runoff is being cleaned up, and then really engaging the community. I think that the county government is doing great work and we need to expand our communication with the citizens and really utilize the resources in District 11 specifically to co-produce policy and what our future is going to look like. So I'm really excited to innovate and bring some much needed community engagement to District 11. So I hope you vote for me on February 20th and then again on April 3rd.
Thank you. I want to thank Kelly Danner for speaking with us and the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. As with many elections, please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, thank you for joining us.